I am not making this video for anyone other than myself. And what I mean by that is this video's entire purpose is not to, get views or get new viewers to the channel. The only reason I'm making this video is so I can send this to people who disagree with me. I know. Really healthy. Chang's alive, okay? Like, let's stop pretending like this guy died years ago when we read chapter 16 of Tower of God. Okay, Chang is alive and well, and I have the evidence to prove it. Rapid fire points. Number 1, Chang was raised in Paul's gang, a gang that was kicked out of the cage during the war between Yama and Paul and Doom, primarily Yama and Doom. He's also half canine, half human, which explains why he knew so much about the mad dogs of Yama during the workshop battle, and why he was so interested in Belsar Elliot. He and Quattro actually ended up taking him and Angel and placing them within the White Heavenly Mirror and maybe studying them, we're not entirely sure. And then he shows up again during the cage and is killed by Grande, one of Paul's goons, because they're afraid he's gonna leak information. That's kind of it, right? A lot of us were disappointed because, oh my gosh, why kill Chang so suddenly? There were a lot of hints about Chang's potential from people like Yuri, and he was one of the top 10 E-rank regulars, and Kuhn's the one that took out his eye. There was a lot of potential for this character, but let's break down exactly what we know and why Chang is 100% guaranteed, 99% guaranteed to be alive. Number 1, we know that a surprise somebody shows up to help with the research involving the mad dogs and the reason they couldn't be controlled by Yasracha. Immediately following this panel of talking about how Baragov found out that he couldn't be controlled, which took place during the cage, we see that a surprise somebody took part in the research. Why do we think this could be Chang? Well, A, they're surprised by it, right? Whoever this is, they didn't expect to see them. And B, we know that Chang was somebody who knew a lot about the mad dogs. In fact, he specifically studied Belsar Elliot, and he specifically took him hostage in the White Heavenly Mirror. There's a connection there. Ever since Workshop Battle, which was essentially Chang's main introduction to the series, he was all about the mad dogs. That was his entire thing, was explaining and kind of being a revealer about the lore behind the mad dogs of Yama. And again, we just don't know who it is, right? It's somebody that they're kind of keeping in the shadows, somebody that could be Chang. There's no reason to believe it couldn't be. It doesn't look unlike him, right? Maybe a slight difference in coloration, but I digress. That is point number 1. Point number 2 is that when he is killed, Grande doesn't say that he was killed, just that he's gone. It's a weak point, I know. But the main point surrounding this argument is point number 3. If you were not convinced by point number 1, this reinforces that there is a connection between Chang and knowledge of the mad dogs. In the aftermath of Yama and Yasracha's fight during the nest, so when Yama's on the field and everything, after Hockney assists in getting rid of Yasracha and Doom is explaining about the fangs, Doom explains that there is a way to get around Yasracha's mind control. And when he does, he tells Yama, and I quote, "Remember what those arrogant regulars working for Paul said before we came here." Cut to a panel of Chang and Quattro. That's right. We know the secret of the mad dog that inherited your blood. Confirms a connection, right? Doom brings up the fact that they were told about a connection between the mad dogs that inherited Yama's blood and not being controlled by Yasracha in reference to information that was gained from Chang and Quattro. Okay, point made. There is a connection between Chang and knowledge of the mad dogs, but how does this explain that he's alive? It's actually in the fact that Doom is the one bringing this point up. Doom tells Yama, remember what those regulars said, which means that both Yama and Doom heard what they said and were present to learn about this information. Doom woke up and was unsealed after Chang's death, which means that Doom could not have met Chang. He could have met Quattro, perhaps, but why show a panel of both of them, and why say arrogant regulars, plural, in that case? Somebody brought up that maybe Chang met Doom before he was sealed, but there's so many things wrong with that. He's called a kid by Grande and the others, as if he's really young, and the Canine War took place so long ago that the only canines that remember it are the 3 brothers. So Chang would have to be not only thousands of years old and only have just recently become a regular, but also be older than the people calling him kid. Also, Doom and Yama wouldn't have been together learning about this mad dog information that long ago. The mad dogs didn't exist exist before the Great Canine War in the first place. And also, that would mean that they're being all buddy-buddy together. The only thing that makes sense is that Doom met Chang after he woke up, because Baragov only recently learned about this connection with the Mad Dog blood being somehow immune to Yusracha, so none of this makes sense unless Chang is still alive and was the person who assisted in the research, and for some reason, Grande didn't kill him or he was saved, whether intentionally or not. The thing is, even if Chang was alive way back when, he wouldn't have known all that information about the Mad Dogs. He only recently obtained Welsar Elliot and only recently learned about this, or learned anything at all. Like, we know that Helltrain was when he obtained Welsar Elliot in the White Heavenly Mirror. So all this information that he has, it's impossible that even if he was that old that he would have known all this way back then. If they had known way back then, why didn't they capitalize on that information way back then? And also, like, Yusracha wasn't controlling them back then. There's so many things wrong with that idea. Point being that Chang has to be alive for Doom's sentence to work. Now, maybe SIU made a mistake, but the fact that they're showing Chang and Quattro cannot be a coincidence. The only thing that possibly messes up this idea is because SIU said sometimes rankers just kill regulars and it's unceremonious, which is disappointing, right? But it's also possible that SIU changed his mind. I don't know. Regardless, doesn't make sense. Chang has to be alive if we take the series for what it's showing us. Otherwise, we're being tricked, and something doesn't add up, and there's a mistake that was made. Send this video to people who don't think he's alive, okay? The information says otherwise, and I will fight until my dying breath, or until we get mega confirmation that he's dead, in which case I'll cry. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.